And we're off. I'll try to be a little bit more academic, but it's hard to do. I need to help clarify the minds of the less fortunate, the less experienced. I've, in the last 24, 48 hours, I've had people come on commenting, giving me uh, advice on how to do cinematography and not even recognizing what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here is cinema verite or cine verite. I'm Kent Kruger. In the 1971-72 signing season, I was the most recruited amateur athlete on this planet. For a reason. It's all the Division I schools at least sent me a letter making an offer, or asking me to call them, collect, or even some Division II schools like San Jose State. Come on, get real. And there were only really a few colleges, universities that I even considered. The one that I took the most illegal trips to. This is done through alumni. The alumni sets it up, gives me a call. They put me up in a hotel in Bel Air Sands, all expenses I could hire. I could have. Actually, one time my brother-in-law stopped by and I hired us. I called room service and had a bunch of Heinekens and filet mignon and stuff delivered right to the room. And it was kind of fun to, go out, and it'd be all paid by alums, so they wouldn't get sanctioned by the NCAA, and kind of hush, But it's really, when you're young, it's kind of fun. I grew up around people that are on television all the time, or famous people and stuff like that. But, to get around some of the big time actors like at Pauley Pavilion is, it's something you get to add to your scrapbook of your life. And in our many conversations and stuff, they actually not only right off the bat, first before I mention MGM, I got to come back. They told me that you've already declared English and Spanish, it's whatever it's, but we can also guarantee based on what you said, because thanks to injuries and layups and the insomnia of pain and stuff like that, I used to stay up all night. Ralph Williams in San Jose was a car dealer who was the first person in this country to fund all-night movies. He's the guy that actually would get up on and stomp on his cars and smash out the windows with a sledgehammer. He was quite a character, but he knew how to move product. I learned a lot from him. I got to see the great, all the films. When you look at the books in the film school, the films that you have to study, especially the black and white ones, I had seen all of the important ones and had a critique on every one of them by the time I was 17. They guaranteed me a bachelor's. I could go in advanced and get a bachelor's technically by the time I turned 19. After actually at the end of my freshman year, I would have already had a bachelor's in film. And MGM guaranteed a contract, and I asked them, I understand what you want me to do. You want me to play the big villain that gets killed by the little guy and stuff like that. And how many times am I going to have to do that before I get to do something that I like, like comedy? I'm really much more of a comedic persona. I can play the bad guy. I can play the heavy. That's kind of easy. Comedy is hard. Comedy is difficult. Comedy takes genius. Being the heavy that's just being a slime ball like Hobo. And they said it'd probably take a dozen movies. It was supposed to be a long-term contract. That's actually so I'd have income immediately, like on a weekly basis, before I even showed up to my first training camp for UCLA. And I didn't even consider USC, because USC, it was still, at that time, they still were trying to get the air. USC's in the middle of town. UCLA is close to the coastal breeze that drives that smog at least 180, 200 miles inland. And the MGM, I had private screenings at MGM with my date, just me alone in that big theater. It was Frankenheimer's. And as a matter of fact, apparently am the opinion that got Eddie Albert Jr.'s first American film, Butterflies Are Free, got that released. They told me it had been in the can for 6 months. They weren't sure. They didn't think it would sell in the Midwest at all. East Coast, West Coast maybe would tolerate the kind of the gay aspects of the film. But I told them, no, I really enjoyed it and so on. And they were most pleased with that. And then it was released shortly after that. Might want to look it up. And then at age 34, I ran into a guy at Yosemite National Park. I had just split with my wife, good woman. I'm not going to say anything bad about her. She was really... I ran into a guy who was a contemporary of my brother. He was a demon-possessed asshole. But he was Spielberg's head stunt coordinator, and he offered me a contract. I hung out with him there. He had a big RV. He was down on the valley floor, I think. Yeah, he was on the, it had to be on the valley floor, Yosemite Valley floor. That's the only place you can go with a RV anywhere in there. And he had his second young, lovely trophy wife. I'll just give you his first name, Lloyd. We chatted all afternoon, all evening and stuff, sitting around the fire, and because they always need big men, little men, dwarves, they need people of all color, all shapes and sizes, pretty and ugly, to do movies. There's a place for everybody in the movies, especially since the inclusionary clause in big stars' contracts. But I've turned down Hollywood twice. Would have had my degree in film by age 19 after having done stunt work, and at least by then, I would have already gone 1 or 2 movies in the first 9 months with MGM. And you people are trying to give me advice on camera angles and do this and do that and lighting and stuff, and you fail to realize that there is a type of a genre of film, which is what I'm doing right now. Is I'm doing a documentary type of, it's in the cinema verite style. It's not found footage like Blair Witch. It's more like almost in one of my favorite films I'll mention is kind of a cinema verite, but I recognized one of the actors. I actually thought it was real footage from this, like a group home or something like that. It was so convincing. That woman who shot that film, she even did it like on 16 millimeter and then blew it up to make it grainy and all that stuff and give it, that's a Julianne, I-E-N, Julianne Donkey Boy is one of my favorites. I have it on DVD somewhere. Good luck trying to find a copy. You might find it on Amazon or something, but I highly recommend it as a study in schizophrenia, incest, psychosis in general, and homoeroticism and stuff, the whole wrestling part of it and stuff. So it's amusing that you're trying to tell me how to shoot. You're trying to tell me how to shoot what you want, not what I'm doing here is what I'm physically able to do, which makes it real cinema verite, because verite means veritas, it means true. It's true that I am homeless. It's true that I'm right here under this tree right now, It's true that I'm a cripple with a broken arm and a ripped out rotator cuff and legs that don't work. That's cinema verite for all of you who are, I'm going to be polite and just say, undereducated. Now, if you do a little research, you may become or add to your current or present educational status, thanks to me.